Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea, and we are doing our MTG keywords looking at Trample interactions. So today we're going to talk about Trample and other keywords that interact with it and how they do, and look at some more budget picks for it. Surprise, surprise. Please hit like and subscribe, or let's see, what today? Clowns are going to come to your house. Not mean ones, but they're still. You know. What is Trample? So this mechanic was introduced in Alpha. So it's been here like from the beginning, basically. Trample is a static ability that is found primarily in green for creatures with higher attack power or maybe boosted. So yeah. Remember, it is all about attacking. So yeah, if you're blocking, this does nothing. Multiple instances of Trample do not stack or provide any benefit. So if you've got Trample and an artifact that gives you Trample and an enchantment that gives you Trample, that's not doing anything more than just Trample. It's just redundant. So it is an ability that changes how damage is assigned. It allows damage to go over the blocker, carrying through to target minus the toughness of the blocker. So the attacker must first assign lethal damage. Basically how it works is, so let's say you've got a 6/6 and someone blocks it with a 2/2 and your 6/6 has Trample. You assign lethal damage, 2 damage to that, and the rest can go over and hit the player, right? It's a very simple example, but yeah. So the player would take 4 damage, basically. What's really important is that lethal damage. What does that mean for some things? That becomes important in just a minute here. So Trample doesn't. So these are keywords that really don't interact with Trample. We're going to talk about first, Defender. Renders Trample essentially pointless. Defender means you can't attack. You can only block. And Trample only works on attack. So if something has Defender and Trample, if you have some way to make it so your defenders can attack, great. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything. Lifelink also. This is a confusing one, I think, because if you have a creature that has, like, it can do 6 damage and has lifelink, even if it is blocked by something that is a 1/1, you still get the 6 lifelink. You still consider it 6 damage done, even if it can't take that much damage. But it does sound like 6 damage and then the carryover is even more bonus lifelink. I think that's one thing where people might get the wrong idea. They might count the first one as all, and then the next one. For instance, yeah, if that 1/1 blocks a 6/6 Trample lifelink, it's not like 6 and then plus 5. It's 1 and then 5, so it gets a total of 6. It's the same amount basically for lifelink. So it's not like it doesn't work. It just doesn't have any effect really. Trample End. So now we're going to talk about Trample where it does get bonuses. So Death Touch is kind of the big one for me, I think. Remember, you have to assign lethal damage, and with Death Touch, lethal is 1. 1 can destroy any creature. If they have like an indestructible or something, that's different, but yeah, if it's not indestructible or something, if they have a regular blocker, 1 damage is all it takes. Even if it's like a 50-50, 1 Death Touch damage destroys it. And then yeah, again, if you've got a 6/6, it's still going to get that 5 damage through. I guess it would die as well because it's still taking the 50 damage, but I'm getting... Maybe you don't need to know all of that. Double Strike provides another interesting combination. Usually a block creature will not get damage through. So again, even if you have Double Strike, again, let's say that 6/6 with Double Strike blocked by a 1/1. Okay, it destroys the 1/1, and that's it. Remember, Double Strike is first strike and regular attack, so it'll take that creature out without taking any damage, but it will not carry over to the player. Now, if it has Trample, that 6/6 kills the 1/1, and then hits the player for 5, and then 6 more after. So instead of doing 0, it does 11. Wait. And this was recommended by Ben from Ben Buys Beverages. If you haven't checked out his channel, you should. I will put a link in the description. So yeah, thanks again, Ben. He gives a lot of helpful suggestions. So yeah, from the Budget Magic group, I should probably mention. But yeah, anywho, we'll be looking at interesting budget picks that make use of Trample and other static abilities. So we're not just doing it like a top 5 budget Trample. This is Trample and kind of thing, where we can either get Trample on our creatures or creatures that are very good with Trample and something else. Number 5, Eater of Virtue. So this is only 1 mana and equip 1, so very good start. But yeah, equipped creature gets +2/+0. Yeah, as long as a card exiled with Eater of Virtue has flying, the equipped creature has flying. The same is true of First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Protection, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. 13 different abilities. I guess First Strike and Double Strike don't really stack, but still. You can have 13 abilities. Oh my gosh. The tricky part is that every time you have a creature equipped with this, if it goes to the graveyard, if it's destroyed, you exile it instead with a sword. So what you really want to do is like equip something with a bunch of abilities, sacrifice it. And then another thing with a bunch of abilities, sacrifice it. And basically like stock up on a whole bunch of different abilities, a whole bunch of like static keywords, and then equip it to something you actually want attacking. And then yeah, they're just gonna be like loaded with all the abilities that you need. It is a real mean one. 20 cents only. It requires setup. That's the tricky bit. Number 4, Balmor, Battle Mage Captain. So blue and red for this 1/3 flyer. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, creatures you control get +1 damage. All creatures, and trample. So even if you cast 1 instant or sorcery, everything gets trample and +1 damage. And if you cast multiple, they keep getting trample. Doesn't stack, the +1 damage does, right? Every spell you cast, if you have like a cantrip deck, you might be able to cast like 5 or more in a turn. All of your creatures are getting like that fairly massive bonus. It's going to add up quickly, especially if you've got like a bunch of tokens and things, which you probably should if you're casting a bunch of cantrips. 9 cents only. Number 3. Okay, Rograk, son of Rogra. For 0, this is a 0/1. First Strike, Menace, Trample. Very great start. What's really interesting is that it has Partner. So any other card with Partner, they can work together as commanders. So yeah, you've got a 0 cost commander that is going to give you red color identity, and you can throw whatever on to make it dangerous. On its own, it's a 0/1, which is obviously not good, but you're going to use probably equipment. I think most of the time you look at equipment and yeah, it gets real scary with that. This is a pretty standard Boros equipment deck card, but yeah. The 3, First Strike, Trample, Menace, it's a really good combination. Trample in any form of evasion is really good, right? Menace, Trample, meaning you gotta block with at least 2, and Trample, they gotta make sure those 2 count. First Strike as well, because he might just take them out, right? When it gets blocked, he drops them first, and then any excess damage goes over, so 76 cents. Number 2, Commander Mustard. 3, red, white, another Boros here. Other soldiers, Vigilance 5/5. First of all, and other soldiers you control have Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Oh my gosh, Vigilance and Trample, really good combination. Obviously, like Vigilance is always good for balancing out your offense and defense. Trample, heavy offense. So you can just keep swinging with all of your hopefully very big soldiers, and then never have to worry about like having things open for blocking. That's also a pretty scary combination. It's super aggressive. And for 2 red-white, until end of turn, soldiers you control gain. When this creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to a defending player. So you can add, on top of Trample, extra damage just by swinging with a whole bunch of soldiers. Especially, soldier tokens are not hard to make, right? So they're going to come in with all of these bonuses, and you can just swing with them and automatically do 1 damage with each one, and then they'll do the Trample. So yeah, that's Trouble. 60 cents. Number 1. Okay, we got Catherall, Aspect Warper. 2, white, black, green. Abzan. I love me some Abzan. 3/3. So when it enters the battlefield, if you again, this is all about having things in your graveyard. It's kind of like Audric, but it helps everything else instead of like it gaining all of the abilities. You get to put counters on other things for flying, first strike, double strike, death touch, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, trample, and vigilance. So 11 counters you could do. You just have to put them on other things. There's the tricky bit right there, but yeah, that's a whole lot of abilities. In a mill deck, it's going to pay off pretty quickly and pretty easily. Also, for each counter he puts down, he gets a +1/+1 counters. So he's a 3/3 that can get up to +11 just by coming into the battlefield and helping out your whole battlefield. Just mill, right? Get lots of creatures with lots of abilities, those static abilities, and just mill them, and then give them out to your whole battlefield. And this is going to turn into like just a huge monster. 45 cents. The list. Okay, Eater of Virtue is 20 cents. Balmor, Battle Mage Captain, 9 cents. Rograk, Son of Raga, 76 cents. Commander Mustard is 60 cents. Catherall, Aspect Warper is 45 cents. Alright, take it easy.